Emisija Portret umjetnice kulturnog radija donosi razgovor s Alice Rende. Alice Rende je brazilsko-talijanska cirkuska umjetnica s francuskom adresom koja je u ožujku kao nominirana za circusnext ediciju 2022-2023 boravila u Zagrebu na umjetničkoj rezidenciji, razvijajući autorski solo projekt Fora. Inače Fora u ovom slučaju znači vani, na portugalskom, katalonskom, sardinijskom. U ovom projektu uvijeni, zgrčeni pokret je očajnička strategija protiv dominacije, kao i počast onima koji se ne uklapaju. Nakon završenog studija na Brazilskoj nacionalnoj cirkuskoj školi i magistriranja izvedbenih umjetnosti na Federalnom sveučilištu u Rio de Janeiru, Alice sudjeluje u stvaranju predstave Silencio u režiji Roberta Magra. 2019. godine predstavlja se performansom Pasaž na Grek festivalu u Barceloni. Zatim nastavlja s profesionalnim školovanjem u Esacto'Lido u Toulouseu, a trenutno radi na doktoratu na temu vrtoglavice u cirkuskoj umjetnosti i na svojoj solo predstavi Fora. Alice također podučava kontorcionistički pokret u institucijama za profesionalno usavršavanje kao što su FLIC Scuola di Circo, Torino, zatim nacionalna škola cirkusa u Brazilu, u Rio de Janeiru i još poneka škola u Francuskoj. Nakon 6 dana rezidencije u pogonu jedinstvo na kojoj ju je ugostila Cirkorama, ali se pred zagrebačkom publikom izvela rad u nastajanju. Upravo njezina rezidencija, izvedba, općenito način umjetničkog rada i umjetničke egzistencije u različitim državama, pa čak i na različitim kontinentima, bili su izravan povod za razgovor s ovom umjetnicom, koja je u periodu koji je protekao od snimke našeg razgovora postala laureatkinja circusnexta i mi joj iskreno čestitam.
And that's it. And it's a creation with the kind. It's nice. It makes me a pose.
Iskra zvačke. Ajde, čao. Čao, ne mogu sad bok. Sorry. To turn off my phone. Okay.
My name is Alice Rende. I'm Italo-Brazilian and I live in France since 2019 and I am a circus artist. My favorite discipline is contortion, and I like contortion because it allows you to transformate the body, to seek to another body, to invent another body, to deform the images we have of the body. And I think this is a big potential. I met contortion technique really late. I was in the circus school at Rio de Janeiro. And I always did flexibility movements, and it was always easy for me to do flexible positions, but I was not a contortionist. I was like a flexible person that did aerials. And one moment a teacher arrived to do our physical preparation, and she was a contortionist trainer from Russia. And she introduced me to her kind of work. It was a very interesting approach, and it really connected with me. I felt I could learn something that before I believed or you were born with or you work when you're little, and I was 23 years old. So it was my first contact with contortion, and I really like it. So in Brazil, we have this big circus school that's called Escola Nacional de Circo. It's a national circus school. And we have lots of ONG, like social circus. And when I began to do circus, I was just interested as a cultural manifestation, and I liked to dance, and I liked to do capoeira and a little gymnastics. I like acrobatics. And I really found myself at circus, but I entered in circus school thinking I would be 1 year, and I did 4.5. And after doing circus school in Rio de Janeiro, I went to Barcelona. So I haven't lived so much as a circus artist in Brazil, because the moment I finished formation, I lived Brazil. But the scene is it's interesting. It's different from here. Also, the schools are different from in Europe. The school in Brazil, it's created by traditional families, and the teachers, they usually came from this tradition. Their sons, they didn't want to continue doing circus, and they really wanted the art to continue, and they adopted us, and we really felt we are their sons. And I have a teacher when he was 87, and then he died 2 years ago. I cried so much because I really felt he was kind of my family, because he really adopted me in a certain way, and he asked how was it going every time. And it's a different relation, I feel. But it's really open school, because even if it comes from a traditional circus, but you can go anywhere. You can go do Cirque du Soleil, you can go do classic circus, and you can go do schools in Europe to contemporary circus. That was what I wanted, and it did prepared me for that. So I liked the school because it was not like forcing one kind of circus and say circus is that. And I really like this in that school, and in Brazil in general. I feel circus there is really open, and I think it's nice. It can be juggling in the street, and it can be doing something more prepared for theater, for the big festival, and there is no hierarchy between the manifestations, and I like this in Brazil. When I come to Europe, it was fun because I really wanted to come doing a circus school in Europe, but before arriving to organize that, I got invited by Roberta Magra to do his creation, and also I got at the same time a call from La Central del Cirque to do an exchange program with Latin America. So I came as Latin America company to be 6 weeks at La Central. And then I stayed because I participated in this creation of Roberto. So at the beginning I didn't did another school. Actually, I never did a school in Europe. I did 6 months of professional insertion in Lido, but I never followed a real formation. My big formation was Brazil in the end, but I feel so welcome in Europe. I felt really, really well at La Central in Barcelona. It was my first home when I arrived, and it really made me stay. And then I went to France by curiosity, and it coincided with COVID. I did all I can to go back to Brazil. It was a moment that I changed. I had nostalgia and all, but the frontier was closed, and I had to stay. And after, when I could go back, I began to like also, and I stayed. Now I think I stay for life. I don't know, but I'm happy to be in Europe now. He came to Rio to do the creation of the end of school, and I connected so much with his workshop from the beginning. And I think it was a coincidence that he already had this project of a show called Silencio in Spain. And he had an interpret that gave up doing it, that had another plan. And it was the moment, I think it was really coincidence that we felt good working together. He saw I loved his work, and that it really speaked to me. And he was like, okay, I have to find someone. She can fit on the So he invited me. I don't know. He took a risk. Huh? I was getting out from school. We knew each other's first time 3 months before. So, and he invited me like, yeah, I'd like, but you have to live in Europe. And I was like, I can, no problem, of course. So it was adventure. It's really nice. Fora is a word in Portuguese, but also in Catalan, Occitan, Sardo, but some dialects in Italy, that means outside. And I liked this word because in this project I wanted to create the image of somebody that feels she doesn't fit, and that wanted to fit because everybody wants to be loved, and I think inadequation is something we feel because we want to be loved, because we want to be accepted. But it's also something that it's important to defend the right to be different, and to accept this feeling of sometimes not fitting and having to transform situations. So I work in this plexiglass box, and there's this image of invisible walls that separate you from the others, and the walls, they are kind of they reflect, so they are kind of mirrors also. And I try to do emotional evolution inside this, and this was the departure point. So I find that Fora, like outside, was a nice title for this idea. So in Fora, I wanted to work with a plexiglass box that I kind of developed in the beginning with Roberta Magra in his creation, because he proposed me to do a rope in a suspended plexiglass box, but it didn't work it so much because everything trembled, and we noticed together that the rope was not necessary because I could use the walls to move, and it was interesting as movement. And then in the show Silencio, I did like a 3 minutes number with this apparatus that was really big, like a suspended plexiglass box. And I liked it, the idea, I liked it moving inside. I think it gave me lots of images. It was really metaphorical object. And I like it to explore, to continue exploring is as circus apparatus, because I see circus apparatus kind of like this. There are some objects that are really metaphorical, like the aerials, they speak about suspension. They have always a hidden metaphor, the circus apparatus. And in this plexiglass box, I saw the same thing, because there is a metaphor of exposition, of protection, of separation, of many possibilities. And so I liked it. I wanted to explore it physically. So I asked Roberto if he was okay with it, and he was like, yes, go for it. So nice. It's so nice. And then I continued. For 1 year and a half, I just searched for movement. And then I did a small solo for the street. So I presented anywhere, and it's called Passage. And then I began to dream of a big solo for the theater or the stand. I never done this, so it's first adventure, and with lights and sound and everything, with a crew. And I'm trying to do it step by step. Let's see if I manage. And the main discipline is contortion, because yes, the plexiglass box is kind of a circus apparatus, and I mix lots of techniques to seek movement inside. So there's a little kind of Chinese pool, but instead of pushing, I don't know how to say this in English.
Holding?
Yeah, instead of holding, I'm pushing. So it's kind of the contrary. There's little positions of trapeze, because I can suspend in the up of the box. There are some normal acrobatics that I kind of deformated due to the narrow space. But for me, the principle was contortion, because it's narrow. So you have to contortionate to be inside. And it solutionated something that I always wanted to contortion, to find a way that is not an exhibition of a skill. So it's just, I really have to do contortion, but it's not an exhibition. It's not like, look, I can do a dislock and look my bridge. So I like this because I really get to find myself in extreme positions, but they don't seem extreme or demonstrative, or it really come because it's like that. It's narrow.
Yeah. That you have been preselected, what does it mean to you actually, this circusnext support that you have been having from the preselection moment until now?
For me, it was really nice, kind of a surprise, because I was like not expecting, because I'm living in France and I had this impression that contemporary French circus is so inaccessible. So I was kind of surprised that they chose me. It was so nice. And I felt this as a recognition that it did me well, and it was in a moment also of my career I was kind of needing some incentivation to continue. Because I'm trying to structurate me as artist in France, and it's not so evident. So it did me a big courage. How do we say this? Courage. Yeah, it gave me courage and will to continue. It was so nice. And there is one thing that gave me a lot of enthusiasm, this enthusiastic feeling to participate, is that there's all the countries and all the different realities, and I think this is so instigating, because there is these different approaches to circus and different situations, social situations where circus get in, and I like this because also this is my story with circus. I haven't been born in French circus. I'm there now, but I came from Brazil, and then I was a little in Spain, and that's what I like also in circus, how it can passes on different shapes. Because normally I had Biennale de Cirque de Marseille, and I was wanting to premiere it in 2000. Long ago, I wanted to premiere it in 2003, end of 2003, but I had a really bad production process, so it's obligated I do it in 2004, but I don't have exactly a date in 2004 because Biennale de Marseille is in 2005, in January. So this is sure. And then I spoke with them to do Entre deux Biennale, because it's a festival, there's the Biennale and the Entre deux Biennale. So I spoke with them to do January 2004 Entre deux Biennale à Marseille. I don't know which spot, but in this festival. And the director, they were like, yeah, it's possible, but we indicate you to do the Biennale because it's more interesting for the project, there's more people. So maybe I do the Biennale in 2025. And if it's that the case, I would like to find something before to do the premiere and to already turn it in 2004, because I feel it's gonna be ready, and it's nice to launch it. I love it because they are very similar in Brazil. I feel when I teach in France and in Italy, there is something like we have to be really respectful with the body and feel you are really a physiotherapist that understand everything, that is really based on respect. And I felt here is based on enthusiasm, as in Brazil. So we were like, yes, we do this, and we try that, and we try that. With contortion, which is not always evident because it's a hard discipline, especially if you are not used to. It's fun because in contortion always there are much more girls than boys. Here is also the case in the workshop. In Brazil sometimes there are more boys. but it's a different. But I felt really the same energy of wanting to try and not being afraid and not being so picky with the propositions. So I liked that. I felt home, and I like teaching because every exercise reacts different on different body, and this allows you to have ideas. I have lots of ideas to see people trying the movements or trying to make compositions with these movements or trying to adapt the movement to their body, how they manage to do it. And this instigates me a lot. It's nice because it really gives lots of ideas. The first day with you, it was really nice. Thanks for the tour. Because after, I just concentrated and I was here. If I was not here, I was editing music at home because I want to do a test tomorrow. And this was one thing really nice from the workshop because I got to meet people from here and I have complices. How do we say this in English? I have people who are going to help me to try something that I never tried.
Super.
I'm so excited and afraid. So it's nice. It's gonna serve for something. Maybe it's not the good idea, but it's gonna serve to test it and maybe find another idea that's gonna be the good one, or maybe it's gonna be great. Let's see. But I got help from people.
That's perfect. Residencies are actually for this.
Yes.
Yeah, to try things. Yeah. Thank you, Alice. Thank you.
Slušali ste razgovor s Alice Rende, laureatkinjom circusnext edicije 2022-2023, snimljen povodom njezine rezidencije i izvedbe u Zagrebu u ožujku 2023. Razgovor vodila, uvod i odjevu pročitala Jadranka Žinić-Mijatović. Tonski obradio i uredio Ratko Bokić. Kulturan radio, Cirkorama.